The new King of the Hill revival is finally out after a long wait, and we'll now know if this show lives up to the original or if it's just another trash revival. Now, I watched all 10 episodes of the show now out on Hulu, and I rewatched a lot of the original as well, so I could be sure how this holds up. I have to say straight up that this show nails what made King of the Hill so good. And that says a lot coming from me because I've been on the hate train for revivals for a little while now because they've been generally pretty bad. Some shows just need to stay in the past and not come back. But some of these new revivals like Gumball have just been surprising me with the level of quality that they had. It has been 15 years since the original King of the Hill, and a lot has changed since then. They need to live up to a show with a huge amount of expectations, respect, and love, which is hard. So they needed to be smart about this and do it right. But I think the people working on this revival knew that. And you could really see that with some of the decisions that they made because they are kind of obvious, but they are nonetheless genius. Since the original was kind of based on when the show was airing, they did the same thing with this show. They aged everyone up, added more modern social issues and ideas, and created new dynamics between characters, which made the show feel so familiar yet very fresh instead of forcing the old show into today's times. And because the old show was really set up to reflect the culture of the time, it was very easy to transition and not really jarring to show the characters interact with the new current culture. Now, they didn't just age everyone up and call it a day. They did do a little bit of setup for the show to help it succeed. They went ahead and actually sent Hank and Peggy to Saudi Arabia for years, and then have them come back to Arlen to enjoy a new retirement. And they did this to prevent so much awkwardness and bringing these characters into the current culture, and it just feels like a really good decision, and honestly, again, just genius. So you can tell there was a lot of care into setting this show up for success because they can now use this dynamic of reconnecting with old friends and being new to retirement, which gives them a lot of freedom to make that the focus of an episode or just something to kind of have as a pushing force. Now, once we get back to the alley, things are very different. We haven't seen them in years, and of course, stuff has changed. Not just from the pandemic, but also Hank being gone for so long. In the original show, they had him as kind of the voice of reason very often, and they haven't had that for years. So things are a little different and a little messy, but not too bad. And all the characters are kind of where you would expect them to be. Now, I wouldn't say they're super predictable, but they have kind of gone in a direction that, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like Dale, who has thrived in the world of misinformation. Bill, who hasn't had a ton of time in the new show yet, hasn't really done a lot. He's kind of just depressed and so far similar to what he was before, but maybe that kind of makes sense. He was on track to do nothing with his life, and that's kind of what he ended up doing. Boomhauer also now has a kid, and it doesn't seem like the mom is in the picture, but this hasn't really been explored much so far either, which is not surprising. They have a ton of quality storylines that they're trying to juggle, so some things just have to hold off until later episodes. I've also really enjoyed Bobby's storylines as well, where he's running a restaurant and kind of the craziness of that, as well as reconnecting with Connie after a very long time and still kind of having feelings for her. And I gotta say, the writing in the show has been for sure a huge strong suit for it, and even at times I think better than the original. And speaking of quality writing, some of the jokes in this show have been insanely funny, like outright funny.
Hell, that's not a German name.
Are you any relation to Cotton Hill?
I'm his grandson.
He machine gunned my grandfather.
So he was one of the 50 men?
Now, I do kind of have to address a little bit, at least, the differences in voices and missing characters, because that's kind of a big deal and one of the main differences of the original and then the revival. Of course, with some of the characters aging out like Cotton Hill, they made mention of it where he passes away, and some of the actors have also passed away as well, like Lucky and Luann, who didn't have a mention or appearance, at least yet. So I feel like if they had a little bit more time, they'd find a good storyline or a good reason to mention it, but they are juggling a few storylines, and to keep it from being overwhelming, I don't think they need to ham-fist in things that they don't need to mention right now. And I would definitely say that there's no need to kind of go out and recast these two because their voices were pretty iconic, so to kind of bring them back and not have that may not be the best decision. Now, speaking of recasting, they did do some in this show. Dale's actor did change partway through the season due to the actor passing, and I feel like there are some differences, between the original and the new actor, but I really didn't feel like there was any issue with it. The character was written really well, the acting wasn't even bad, it didn't take me out of it, and even the original actor did sound kind of different because of his age or, whatever it is. His voice did have quite a different feel to it as well, but I had no issues with it. If Dale's chain smoking every day, all day, it kind of makes sense that maybe his voice would change in the show. So if you want kind of a lore accurate reason, I think that could fit pretty well. Now, there was one recast that kind of felt a little off, which was Khan. And he might be the only one where I kind of felt maybe not the same as his original or kind of as good about. And it's mostly just when he did one thing, which is when he was taunting, he just didn't have the laugh or kind of the right tone for mocking Hank and kind of the guys in the alley. It just didn't feel the same.
Missed again, Hank Hill.
But otherwise, this is an amazing revival. Honestly, from top to bottom, few to no issues. All the issues that there are very small, and this is just an absolute master class of what you can do to make a revival while appreciating a very beloved original. I can't recommend it enough. And honestly, the issues, again, are so small, but people are complaining about it. Just go out and watch it for yourself. This could be just as iconic and impactful in culture as the original, and it's just worth a watch. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you like the show? What do you think about the original? Do you have any favorite episodes? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more cartoon content.
And this feels a little light. You jacking me?
I am the Mac Daddy of Heimlich County. I play it straight up, yo. You get the hell out of my hood. She's my hoe now.